The last sunrise. The morning it happened, the sky was a blinding shade of blue, the kind of blue that promised another ordinary day. 12-year-old Aiden Carter ran down the stairs, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, the smell of bacon filling the air. His mother stood at the stove, humming a tune he didn't recognize. His father sat at the table, reading the newspaper, sipping his coffee. His little sister, Emily, kicked her legs under the chair, stuffing her face with cereal. It was supposed to be an ordinary day, but then the sirens wailed. At first, Aiden thought it was just another drill, like the ones they practiced at school. But when his father's chair scraped against the floor and his mother's face turned pale, fear clawed its way into his chest. "Get to the basement, now!" his father yelled, grabbing Emily as his mother pulled Aiden's arm. Aiden barely had time to process before they were sprinting, the world outside their window flashing with chaos, cars screeching, people running, screaming. Aiden saw the sky change. A bright light, whiter than the sun itself, erupted on the horizon. And then, nothing. Darkness swallowed everything. The silence after the storm. When Aiden opened his eyes, he was buried. The air was thick with dust, his mouth filled with dirt. His ears rang, a high-pitched scream that refused to stop. He coughed, choking on the taste of concrete and fire. "Mom," he croaked. Silent. He pushed against the debris, his arms shaking, his breath ragged. Splinters of wood, broken bricks, shards of glass, everything that was once his home had collapsed around him. The basement ceiling had caved in, but somehow a small pocket of space had kept him alive. Aiden crawled through the wreckage, the smell of burnt flesh and smoke thick in the air. His hands bled as he pulled himself free, emerging into a world that was no longer the one he knew. The house was gone. His neighborhood was unrecognizable. The trees, the houses, the streets, everything was ash and rubble. Fires burned in the distance, sending plumes of black smoke into the sky, a sky that was no longer blue but an eerie, sickly shade of gray. And then he saw them. His father's hand, limp beneath a slab of concrete. His mother's scarf, tangled in the wreckage. Emily's teddy bear, half buried in the dirt. They were gone. Aiden fell to his knees, the weight of the world pressing down on him. He wanted to scream, to cry, but nothing came out. He was alone. The long walk. For days, Aiden wandered. He didn't know where he was going, only that he had to keep moving. The city was a graveyard. Buildings stood like broken teeth against the sky. Shadows lurked in every corner, people who had survived, but barely. Some had burns across their faces, their skin peeling like old paper. Others simply sat in silence, staring at nothing. He scavenged for food, drinking from rusted pipes and puddles of water that tasted like metal. He saw soldiers once, their uniforms torn and dirty, but they passed him by, their eyes hollow. No one helped. No one could. The nights were the hardest. The cold bit through his clothes, and hunger gnawed at his stomach. He thought about his family, about the way Emily used to tug at his sleeve when she was scared, the way his mother smelled like lavender, the way his father would ruffle his hair and call him Champ. But they were gone, and he was still here.